already delayed all that in order to get the plan to do what we want to do.
Okay. All right, it is 7 o'clock. We'll call this meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have roll call, please?
Ben.
Present.
Bob.
Here.
Devin.
Present.
Gloria. Here. Sam.
Here.
Todd.
All right, we'll move on to approval of minutes, starting with the regular meeting minutes for April 9th.
So the time is wrong. I don't know why there's an 8 there. It was 7 for that one.
Okay.
Okay, and then the public comments, I forgot, it began at 8:15 and ended at 8:39.
Public comment.
Have it in here?
I put none.
I don't think that's required.
I thought that's where you wanted the public comment at.
No,
Or you were
on
just
the,
talking about the-
on the public hearing.
Okay.
Just
Hearings.
when
Is that
we
what you
ask if
wanted it?
there's, when we ask if there's, public comment on
Okay.
the hearings.
So you want it every time there, if nobody comments,
If
you
you
want
open
it.
a public hearing, post the time,
Okay.
and when you close the public hearing, post the time, is what we always traditionally do.
Well, we open and close, we post the time.
Yeah.
But in between the times, he's saying, put in, there was no public comment.
That's what you,
Yeah,
it was what spot did you want it at?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, even in the public, when we go to public comment at the
Yeah.
end, just if there was no public comment, still put there was none. But he was specifically saying on public hearings when, you know, it's all like, oh, we opened it at 7:18
And we
and there was
closed
no
it at 7:18.
yeah,
Why?
because there was no
Okay.
public.
No public.
Okay.
Now I get what you were asking at. I'm like, wait a
So
minute,
do
you're
we
talking
need
about
to
back
put,
here?
because there was public comment, it was the church was here, asking all those questions what they needed to do.
I mean, that would just be a summary of,
So can I just begin at and end it at?
well, in the public comment section, you don't need the time, you just need, like, oh, you know, for that, I would just make note that the church is here asking about, steps for a group volunteer home, I guess is the best way to summarize what they were asking.
Well, I went and looked at other people's minutes, and
For that, you don't really.
Sarah puts the time it started and it ended, and that's all. So it's like, ooh, should I do that there?
Yeah, in that particular part of the public comment is just a summary of like
Okay, she just
what
puts
was
when it
made.
began and when it
Yeah.
ended.
Even public comment?
The public comment, that's what she puts in there.
That's not necessary.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's all
and
part
then-
of the regular public meeting.
Okay,
So the beginning and the end is all you gotta document. However, in the public meeting, we're holding public hearings.
okay,
So you have to document when you started and stop that,
okay.
right?
yeah.
That's the way it's supposed to be done that I know.
Okay, and the motion to adjourn, it's supposed to have been Sam. And we ended at 8:41. I don't know where I came up with these figures, but I went and watched the video again.
Motion to adjourn with Sam and who seconded it?
No, Devin, and then Sam.
Sam was the second.
Yep.
Dr.
You-
Bobby beat me.
No, it's like, you're getting too quick
You
now that
said
you're here.
You
It
said
was
8.
8:41. I went and watched YouTube, because it's on YouTube.
Well, in that case, I will make the motion to approve the April 9th minutes with the stated corrections.
second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Move on to the April 23rd special meeting minutes.
Motion to approve as written?
I'll second. I have a motion and a second to approve the April 23rd minutes as written. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Move on to liaison reports. We'll start with the marijuana coordinator report. And we do have a new marijuana coordinator, Cody, who is here with us tonight.
I thought it was one of the companies.
Any questions on the marijuana coordinator report? If not, we'll move on to the zoning administrator report. Hey, Troy.
Yes,
On the Maple Grove Lane, you just put several violations. Like, could you indicate what those were?
where did I put?
You just put several violations.
Violations and warnings, and it says several.
The other ones you named off.
Let's see.
While he's looking for that, anybody else have any questions?
I was gonna ask him about zoning permits, what are they for? But is it like new building, new dwelling, new garages? He used to put that, but he stopped, looks like. Just out of curiosity, it's not.
Oh,
And then the other question that Ben had was what the permits, the zoning permits were for, just out of curiosity.
I didn't write that on there either.
Nope.
No. It's not something I have to tie up the meeting for, we can just get that answer later.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can give him time to look that up and get it later. Any other questions on that while Troy's looking for anything? If not, then we'll go on to the trustees report.
Where's that number?
Prepared it.
There, underneath here.
I didn't understand what they meant with the credits of charging.
Oh,
So Because anybody can get the app, right? Doesn't matter if they live in the township? or
Right, you
they-
get the app, there's no cost for that.
Right,
If they do it, which, as my notes say, they're putting it off till
right,
budget time to see if we got no money for it, or if they wanna do it. And, so you would buy this package, I can't remember the number of how many
right,
credits.
but it was
It
credits.
included credits. Each text, if they send out a text message to 500 people,
It's
you'd
500
use
credits.
500 credits.
So what if somebody from some other country starts downloading that app onto all
No,
their
that would,
phones?
well,
Do they verify that they're residents
good
of
question, bring that up later, will you?
Vassar Township?
Yeah.
Or is it for other residents in other townships? Are we paying for them to get alerts from us?
Yeah, I don't know. The answer to that would have been a question we should have asked with the lady on the Zoom
Because
meeting.
I
but
don't
didn't think of it,
understand
so-
the credits.
Yeah, anybody that
So if you
signs
got
up
that
for it,
app-
which I don't know the answer, do
Right.
they vet them or not? Because sometimes you have out-of-town people
Right.
who are interested, they own property here or whatever.
Well, as long as they own
So-
property here, they're considered a resident.
No,
So-
you only consider residents if they live here.
Okay, but they
You
should.
can own property in every county in Michigan.
Okay,
Doesn't
so-
make you a resident. So, yeah, I don't know the answer to that, but if they get sent the message, it would be a credit. If they log into the app, they look things up, there's no fee for that,
Right,
from the way I interpreted what she said.
okay.
She's talking about that GoGov thing that's on her report.
This one, don't.
Mhm. So there, so it's a two-stage thing, so there
Yes.
is, it's like a
They would build us like a
a
website.
bulletin board type thing, and then you have the ability to do force notifications.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And you don't even have to do that second step if you don't want to, so the township has that as an option.
But they said like 20,000 credits, and then you can buy credits if you need to, like 10 or 20,000 more credits.
Well, they had different packages to start with, you
Yeah.
can start out with a different package, but she said being new, she was thinking that's a good number. If you go too low, you're just gonna spend a lot of money on more.
But I see what Gloria's saying, because even in that meeting, John said he's still on the Alaska one. I
Yeah.
mean, that could happen.
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
so, bring it up at budget time,
Yeah.
when the board starts talking about it.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It was a busy couple of meetings, so I
Right.
just hit all the high points, there might be other things that happen, of course, but,
They're adding gravel to Freewell Boulevard again.
Yep.
I'm being told it's not ever done in a long time.
Oh,
As I said, I thought it was not too long ago that they
3
They-
years ago.
put on.
Maybe 3
Yeah.
years ago, according to Bob, or you think it's sooner?
I mean, 3 years sounds about right, but
Well, apparently the supervisor got a notification from somebody that the bus almost got stuck.
gotcha.
And that
So,
doesn't mean more-
so in other words, it wasn't done right, basically,
Right.
is,
That's always so wet back there that if they don't put that fabric down first, that gravel's just gonna keep sinking.
They're not putting no fabric.
They're not, and that's why they keep losing their road.
okay.
And you've already burst my bubble, but I'll just go ahead and announce, and Cody Legui is our new marijuana coordinator, welcome.
Thank you very
It's in
much.
my report and everything.
It was on the marijuana
Why-
coordinator
I seen
report
that too, she did it too.
And then you're gonna turn this in, or should I turn the date?
I've got, well, I don't know if we need to add it to our agenda, but I have a question on my agenda when we get to
Okay.
it. That's nothing to do with my report. I mean, I guess it could be, it's in my report, I think I
Yeah.
actually talked about it.
Yeah, because it got
So,
tabled.
now might be the best time to talk about it. Did I put it in my report? or
Yeah,
did I-
Yes.
table dangerous building ordinance approved for corrected version.
Okay, so you've already found it, but there it is, I found it. So, my question to the planning commission is how do we resolve this issue? What the board had, and if you,
Same thing we had.
You talking the marked up
Yeah.
copy
Yes,
that
this.
shows the corrections?
this is what they wanted to approve, or what was presented to us to approve, written this way.
Yeah,
And I questioned it. As soon as I question things, you know what happens?
Right.
Okay, I guess we're not doing that tonight.
We're tabling it.
So,
it was sent to
I
them in
even
that version.
suggested, I even suggested that we could look at it and possibly approve
Yeah.
as is, but then retype it,
Well-
or whatever, but I guess it got set aside to be waited on.
It was sent to the supervisor as a Word document with those corrections, so the Board of Trustees could see the changes that we made in case they wanted to add back anything that we requested to be removed, or remove anything that we added that they didn't agree with. It was given to them in that version so they could make an informed decision about what was different from the version that the attorney first gave the board of trustees that then kicked it back to us to look at. It's why it was given to the supervisor that way, and I cannot be held responsible for the fact that the supervisor doesn't know how to work.
If I recall the month, I don't have all the details in front of me, I got other members that were here to correct me, but the month before it was brought up, and I don't think the copy was there. If it was, then it got brought up then, and it got dropped. I don't think the copy was there last month, I believe. It was just looked at me like, where is it, we can get it?
Right.
Oh, wait,
I
I think you gave a copy at
To
the
Bruce, and
beginning
then
of the
Bruce
meeting or
said
something, or
he
something
didn't
like that.
have it,
Right.
and when me and him had discussed it, and we discussed about the fee schedule.
And then
Then
I
he said
keep
he
getting
didn't
looked
have
at as I'm supposed to give the official copy, and I drew a blank there, like, because this guy doesn't have the official copy, therefore he cannot do that.
Yeah.
This guy has nothing but his notes copy,
A working copy, a
Yeah.
draft is what,
The copy that
with my
was
notes
given.
written all over it.
Right.
I'm not turning that in as an official document.
The copy, the electronic copy that was given to him was purposely given to him with,
The
when
changes.
I sent it to him, the highlighted changes from the attorney, so the Board of Trustees could see
Say,
that
okay,
this
let's
is
approve
what
it with
was
this way and
changed.
type it without that.
Yes.
And that's
Well,
how
I
I
didn't
did
interpret
this.
it that way
I
correctly.
accepted all the changes, and this is
Well-
what I got.
Then I guess, now that I know that, maybe both copies should be turned in officially then, so that the board members can all look at it and know that. Do you happen to remember that far back? Was it in your cover letter or something that said all that? Because I
I
didn't
mean,
get
it would have
that.
been part of the email. If the supervisor said he didn't receive the email, then
Okay,
if you're gonna send both back, though, make sure you mark the one, the original one you had as draft, so that they're not, it isn't confused about which one they're
He
supposed
told
to
me
be
the more
voting on.
emails he gets, the better, and told me just to, and it's like you're not looking at them.
well, I mean, if the cover letter said that or the email said that,
yeah.
and I didn't remember that months later,
Right.
so it didn't get interpreted that way too, did I? So, that's on me. If I supposedly knew that months ago, I did not remember that Tuesday.
I mean,
I just
being
knew
that
that
it's
didn't
a,
look right.
being that it's a general ordinance and they're asking us for help with it, it is best to send them a version where it's all like this was
This
the
is what-
version that you were presented with these corrections.
Recommended
These are the
corrections.
recommended corrections, accept them or deny them or whatever. And then all you gotta do, like, all that would have needed to have been done is like, yes, we're gonna accept it with these corrections. And then literally just accept the corrections
Corrections,
on
yeah.
the Word
On the
document.
document.
Cause it's not gonna change the color coding only changes the ability for them to see.
Well, it had to strike through it and everything.
Right.
The way,
He got the final copy, I emailed it to him on, I think it was, March 3rd.
Yeah.
well, then I don't know why I keep getting all the look and all the
We
blame,
found-
because,
I found it for him, he just, he didn't check.
so
it.
in April it got brought up,
Yes.
and I was the bad guy, because I have to turn in the official document.
Yep.
And I explained right there and then, that ain't happening. The official document's coming from somewhere else, I don't know where, but not here.
Because you do Parks and Rec. You
I do
send
the
it on
parks,
up.
yeah.
When he was supposed to do that dangerous building ordinance, it didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then a month later, the same thing came up, so.
Yeah, cause you're the only one guy.
He doesn't even like to type, look, he writes.
This is my typing, my friend.
He found it yesterday though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he found it yesterday, I showed him where it was at, and, because he said, oh, I only got the one with the red lines, I said, check your email from March
Or
3rd,
I think that's
whatever
right
time.
on.
Okay.
And he did, and he goes, here it is.
So I caught flack for 2 months in a row, and he had it before that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the red line version was sent
Is
with
the
the
one that
purpose,
needs
with the
to
purpose
look at.
of like, This was the corrections that we suggested based off of,
So here you can see what we worked up and why.
Correct. yes,
Okay.
yeah,
And the corrected version came to you from the attorney,
Yes,
yes.
yeah.
which is what I said, and like, okay.
Yeah,
so you didn't even need to do that.
He revamped
I didn't
it
need to
and
know
sent it that same night, and then the next day, if I remember correctly, I can look at the dates, I sent it to Bruce, or as soon as I got it, I forwarded it, the whole thing.
Okay, so then that seems to be settled now. He does have the original document created by the attorney, the
Yes.
corrected attorney,
Yes.
document.
Yes.
So we don't need this copy at all, in case there's a word different, we don't need
Right.
floating around copies. My
Right.
suggestion is shred these, not the red one, the working one, the
Right,
one you just
the
got.
one, this one, that's got all the changes.
I would suggest we do away with that one, that's my 2 cents. What if she does it 2 words different than he did it? Now
How
we
many
got,
different versions?
Oh, I
of
just
that have we
hit
had
accept.
already?
All she was doing was hitting
I hit
accept on
accept,
the
it allows
corrections.
you on that.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's why I was saying, it was sent, the version that was sent,
see?
and I
don't know
can't
any
be
of this.
held responsible for the supervisor not knowing how to work Word.
Well, I didn't even know that
So
it's
you
done
just
that way.
hit, there's a little green check
And
mark,
it
and you
printed
hit it,
out the thing without the red then,
and
and
it
without
prints
the
this.
correction, or without the line.
If it's,
Right.
yeah, if it's
Oh,
line,
it
if it's
doesn't-
line through,
It doesn't
it
print.
means it's, hey, this is a correction that has been made. Removing this section, do you want to approve this
You
correction?
have to tell it, and each one of them, you had to accept on it.
Right,
Any addition
And the-
or any removal.
Okay.
yeah, and the reason it was presented that
Oh,
way
I
was,
understand
so
it
it's
now,
all
but I
like,
didn't know
hey, we're
or
gonna
remember
remove
that.
this, yeah, we're gonna remove this section, we agreed to remove this section.
So I can own up to the fact I didn't either know that or didn't remember it. So I didn't bring that up Tuesday.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense now, but didn't help me last month, didn't help me the other 2 days ago.
I wasn't here either, I had another meeting.
And that circles us back around to the fee part then.
Yes,
Is it gonna stay in there?
that's up to you
I can't
guys.
remember how did we agree? We agreed,
We agreed
agreed.
to
Board.
make it up, let
Let
the board
them
decide.
decide.
which is what I did say Tuesday night.
The
That's
attorney
all.
said, normally you would leave it there, but because the fee schedule is so good, you can put it there if you want.
You just have to, it would just be changing the ordinance to reference the fee
Fee schedule.
schedule ordinance.
So it could be either way, and at one time Bruce said put it in both spots. Then when you go to
What's
change the dollar amount, you might miss one spot.
Bruce said he's putting it in both, wants it in both.
Oh, that's crazy.
The whole reason that we said to reference the fee schedule is so you didn't have to change it in 15 different locations.
Because if he
Right.
forgets,
So our recommendation is remove it
remove
and
it,
say C.
Our recommendation was to,
let them decide.
was to let them decide, but leaning
That is the way I
towards,
said it then, thank you.
but I think we all leaned more towards
Okay, well, I didn't say
the
that.
fee
I
schedule.
talked about the pros and the cons, and then I talked about, I think we decided to leave it up to the board to
Right.
decide.
I mean, it's the same reason that, that we recommend adding the, what is it, the policy, or no, not a policy, the attorney said you could make it a policy to a point, and we're like, no, we'd rather have it in the ordinance.
Right.
Have it
So
spelled
what
out
are
in
we
black
doing
and
with
white.
this
That's still good. No, I
Okay.
just read it, it's the same thing.
Yeah, now that I know, it is the same thing.
I didn't sit there and type it all up.
Okay.
So I guess whatever you don't want, just make the changes and I'll get the changes and get it to him.
I mean, the version that you gave to him, if it's the last corrected version that the attorney gave him, that's what we agreed to move on to the board. What the board didn't understand was that the version that they got sent with all the
Oh.
markups present on it was to be able for them to make an informed decision on, like, this is what we're recommending. It is still your ordinance to say, yes, we want this, or no, we don't want that.
Okay.
So, when we present it to the board next month now, unless he puts it on the special meeting.
I think it's going in the special meeting.
Okay,
because
if he
we're
puts it on the
gonna-
special meeting, then I wanna make sure he has both copies. This is
Right.
typed up without all the corrections being visible. This is the visible
You
corrections.
need to write yourself notes so you don't forget.
Aye.
All the time it's, I might have forgot.
Can you make sure I got those notes later? I have wrote it here, but that doesn't help me a month from now.
Okay.
I have already wrote it.
I was told it was going on a special meeting with him,
Okay.
or something else was going on a special meeting, I can't remember what it was.
And when you say that Harper Alarm's adding a pin pad at the meeting room door,
Right over here. Yeah.
does that also mean, that doesn't mean that you're gonna have a fob to get in there, it's just,
No.
so we're gonna have, so,
If you, the
Gonna have to
couple
have a
people
key.
that have a key would be able to unlock and do that.
gotcha.
The rest of us would still do it the other way.
Gotcha, okay.
That Maple Grove lane was supposed to say several vehicles.
Several vehicles?
Yeah. And then we got 5156 Sag and, that's a new house.
So building for that?
Yeah, they're gonna build a new house there. They did, remember, it's just kind of a barn back there.
Mm.
And then, you got the 5687, and that is,
Say that again, what number?
Haynes Road.
Haynes Road?
yeah. That's a fence,
Fence.
yeah. I don't know why it looked, well, I was kinda in a hurry.
Hmm.
Roof rack, there's a pole building,
Is a what?
pole building,
Okay.
and what's the last one, Brown Road? Brown Road is, pole building.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys. I
That's
must have been in a hurry. Oh, I was in a hurry.
That's fine.
It was just curiosity, but I like to see what we're getting done, getting new buildings for.
Yeah, no Nike plant yet.
No?
No.
All right, then, so is there any other questions on the trustee report? I did actually have a question. Cancel park Wi-Fi due to equipment
Yes.
failure?
There was equipment problems at the park Wi-Fi, and it was gonna cost XYZ to repair it, and instead they gave a suggestion of piggybacking it off this, with just some other smaller investment, and $10 a month, so it saves us a lot of money per month.
So you didn't necessarily cancel it,
They
you just,
canceled because it was 2 accounts.
you canceled the account, but
Yes.
you didn't remove the Wi-Fi from the park, you're just
No.
using,
I thought I explained that here, but
upgraded the hall Wi-Fi to include the park.
yeah. So what they did is they put up, I don't know,
Jumper.
a repeater or something,
Yeah,
or a
repeater.
Wi-Fi extender
Yeah.
off of this internet, deleted that whole account that way. So
Gotcha.
we had a piece of equipment to purchase to do this, but it wasn't as expensive as the repair piece. And then it also saved us a monthly fee. It did add $10 to this monthly fee though. to do it.
Okay. Okay, anybody else, any questions on that report? If not, then we'll move on to the zoning board of appeals report.
I don't have that.
Gloria handed it out.
Oh, tonight maybe, and I didn't see it.
Or did I only have,
Did you,
I thought I made copies of it.
you made copies so the dangerous places can.
Oh, that's why. I'll go make a quick copy of this. I didn't realize I didn't make a copy of this for everybody. Or I had to make a copy of it, rather. 6 copies left, 7 copies.
Oh, right.
Any questions on that one? The only question I got, I guess, is what was the circumstances that we came to the agreement on reducing the setback 10 feet?
In the backyard, there's nothing, no room. So the pole barn's gonna take up what room he has left.
And,
I did a drive-by too to make sure.
I mean, is it a matter of, like, I guess my question is,
If he would've did it 15
if he would have done,
and 15,
if he could have done a smaller pole barn, could have he made it fit?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
exactly. Should've
so
done
he could have done smaller and still met the
100%.
zoning
Yeah.
ordinances.
All they had to do.
Okay.
It's like going from 24 to, you could've went to a 20.
Yep, 100%.
No,
No?
no, because in order to do the 15 and the 15, you gotta take the 15 off of each side. His pole barn's only 25 by 20,
It's 24 by 20,
20, so,
so it's 20 foot wide, and it'd be sitting on a septic tank, or septic field.
Oh, I remember that now. Cause the drainage field was there.
Yeah, so he's got it as, with the 5 foot, it's gonna be butted right up to the edge of the septic field.
So he's 5 foot off, it's gonna be 5 foot off the property line.
yes,
Yes. And his neighbors next door and everybody, they were fine with it.
yep.
Okay.
Should there be something though showing that the neighbors are fine with it and not just taking the word?
It's gonna be in the minutes,
And
the minutes from the zoning board. That was Cheryl does the minutes.
that's what this is.
No,
No, this
that's
is
my
just a
report,
report.
cause I'm the liaison.
Oh, okay.
Great, any other questions on that then? If not, then we'll move on to receive and set public hearings. We'll start with the marijuana coordinator requested public hearings. Need to set a renewal for 664 Vassar LLC Medical and Adult Use Provisioning Center. Pull up my calendar. I will make the motion to set the public hearing for 664 Vassar LLC Medical and Adult Use Provisioning Center Special Land Use Permit Renewal to be held at the June 11th regular Planning Commission meeting that begins at 7 p.m. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to set the 664 Vassar LLC Medical and Adult Use Special Land Use Permit Renewal public hearing for the June 11th meeting. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. And then, Troy, you said the petition for the zoning ordinance amendment is no longer
Yeah,
need that one, right?
yeah,
So which one? one that's in our
The
packet?
petition, yeah, the petition for zoning ordinance amendment
That is, that
for a
whole,
rezone.
that whole project's on hold right now.
Okay. Then we don't need to do that one. So we'll move on to complete action on tabled items from previous meetings. That brings us to the, group daycare, on Oak Park Road. We've been going back and forth with the attorney, trying to figure out stuff on that. We did get, another letter about this one, so I'll read that real quick. Vassar Township Planning Commission Zoning Board, from Arthur and Kathy Myers, date of May 7th, 2026. To the members of the Planning Commission, I am writing to formally express my opposition to the proposed rezoning of the property located at, they have 7080 Oak Park Drive. I do some of the road maintenance on this road, feel that having a business on this road would increase traffic, causing more maintenance. I like living on a private road for the quiet and peacefulness. Allowing a business would change that. An ingress and egress easement generally only grants the right to pass over your land to reach theirs, not to operate a business using that path. While they can access their home, they cannot overburden the easement by causing excessive traffic, noise, or using your property for parking or business activity. Request that the Planning Commission deny this rezoning request to protect property rights of my neighbors and my wife and I. Sincerely, Arthur B. Meyer, 7062 Oak Park Drive, Vassar, Michigan. Again, as the other letter that we got, they've mentioned that this is a rezoning, which it wasn't never a rezoning. It was a special land use permit, as we all know. The feedback, I'll let Troy weigh in on some of the feedback that we got from the attorney, and talking with his colleagues.
Well, there was no restriction on the easement, it just said egress, ingress, which basically says you can just pass over it back and forth. It doesn't say, doesn't matter who, what, where, or when. When you create an easement like that, you should put in there stipulations on it, you know, whether or not you want the garbage truck to go down there, whether or not, 10,000 pounds is the limit. That's basically what the lawyer said, that you gotta put it in there, otherwise it's just because that's too broad. Egress and ingress is too broad. You gotta put restrictions in there if you don't want.
And yeah, and there was never any formal documentation found for.
No, it's just ingress and egress with register of deeds.
And remind me, did we ever determine if it was filed as a private road?
No. Oh, I don't know. I was looking for a maintenance agreement, because it would, something like that would fall under the maintenance agreement, but there is no.
Well, the maintenance agreement would have gone, I mean, at least with the way the ordinance is currently written, if they had filed it as a private road, it required a maintenance agreement, so, I mean,
Yeah.
it could very well be that
It was created before that.
Right.
I'm sure. Who wants to say something?
It is a private road, but is there a doubt in your mind about that? Because, for one thing, it's not approved by the county because it's too narrow. And it is private, like Troy said, the garbage trucks can't come down there. The mail doesn't come down there. I do a lot of the maintenance on the road. And,
so you're Arthur?
yes.
Okay.
So,
I don't, I mean, we've dealt with this with other private roads. It's not necessarily that there's a doubt as to whether it's a private road or not. Like that,
okay.
the official it's more of a, was it ever officially established as a noted private road, not, or more than just an easement? Because that does change, it does change things a little bit from a, like he was saying, that the maintenance agreement and all of that, but between all the owners on the property and all of that use the private road.
That maintenance agreement, I'm not sure when that ruling came in, but I think that road was established before they started having maintenance agreements.
I'm not sure how wide is that easement?
I think it's about, and I'm not positive on it, but I think it's around 23 feet
So,
on both. Well, that's how wide it is, I think.
so it's 46 feet wide, the easement? Well, because we have a situation where the roads are wider than the easements.
Yeah.
This one here, I think, the easement and the road together is, because we own from the middle of the road to the one side, and then the other neighbor owns,
Right.
yeah, and then the two neighbors on the end of us own the same way.
So on the title, I guess it should say how wide the easement is.
I don't know the exact figure, I'm sorry. Brandon, Britton, I think, wrote a letter
Yeah.
also to you folks, and
Mhm.
he might have the measurements, I'm not sure if he did it in his letter or not.
I mean, on this one document here where it gives the description of the property and all that, it does say together with, I mean, I guess this would be a question of what, if it's actually that or not, but the description says together with and subject to an easement for the purposes of ingress and egress being 66 feet wide, 33 feet on the center line, as described. So, at least in the surveying description of it, it's supposed to be a 66-foot wide easement with a center. And I mean, I don't know where the center line is, but according to at least to the surveyor description, it should have been 66 foot wide for that easement.
Is that, I don't have my paperwork from the other meeting, but that's all right out in the description.
Yeah, you know, so your exhibit A, part of north, so the description of the parcel gives you that, and then the next part of it says together with and subject to an easement for purposes of ingress and egress being 66 feet wide, 33 feet on each side of the following described center line.
So then the piece of property you own is flag shaped out to Brown Road. So you own 33 feet, it looks like, all the way along the property line
Yeah, from our one corner
to the middle.
all
of
the
the
way
road.
up to Brown Road.
And then you own to the middle of the easement, which
Yeah.
on the map, which can be altered or be off by a little bit, makes it look like your property goes right up to the actual gravel part of the road. Like the gravel's not in the middle on the map. It's off to the
Yeah,
east
I
side.
don't think the road is right dead center.
Right, it looks like it's on the east side of center on the map.
Yeah. But the stakes, you know, they're right on, I believe, but it just, I don't know why the road isn't in the exact spot it's supposed to be.
I'm using the county GIS map system, and it's close. It's not, you know, you're looking at a satellite picture, it can be off,
Right.
because it makes it look like it's right on the wall of your neighbor house there. The easement goes right to the wall on this.
Did that forward you what the attorney said?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
the next part that I was gonna get to.
Okay.
Copies of that this time, right?
It wasn't, well, at least I didn't get an official letter thing.
Okay.
You just, whatever you sent me, Troy, was just like what his advisement was, not an official letter.
Oh, yeah, they're not gonna give you an official letter, they're just gonna advise,
Yeah,
and then
basic,
forward you his email, or.
yeah, basically the advisement from the attorney was because there is, the long and short of it is because there is no restrictions given on the easement. It is, between him and his colleagues, their discussion came to, there is no reason to prevent us from approving it if they meet the requirements of the special land use permit. Because there is no restrictions on the private drive itself. That was their guidance.
But if it's called a residential easement, that in itself would be restricting, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, it depends on, again, this comes back to all the issues that we've been having with these private drives that either predate the zoning ordinances or were never installed right with the zoning ordinances, or when they were updated to be from a shared driveway to a private road, not being updated appropriately. We've gotten into this area where, like, there is no line of documentation that shows whether, like, I know the properties that Bob has, I mean, we've seen it on multiple locations that he sold out there, like, there's very strict restrictions on what is allowed on the roads as part of the deeds. Like, and in this case, like, all it is like, well, yeah, it's an easement because you're on a private road. And what the attorney came back with, basically after talking with his colleagues, was because there is no restrictions, there is nothing really preventing us from saying, as long as they meet the intent and scope of the special land use permitting, there's nothing preventing us from that side of things to approve it.
So, it don't make sense to me, or I don't know.
Don't make sense to me either, at all.
Well,
I mean, if it's a residential easement, it's residential.
It's not, no.
Did that description say residential easement? That's
no,
where
it
I'm
just
coming
says
from.
easement as easement
You give
from
me an easement,
ingress.
you give me an easement. Now, if you give me an easement with a restriction,
Right.
that's an easement with a restriction. Is that an easement or an easement with a
It
restriction?
just says ingress and egress. And then notice of private road. Seller hereby notifies the purchaser with respect to the property described herein, land abuts, and or is burdened by a street or road which has not been accepted as public, and that said street or road referred to is private and is not required to be maintained by the county road commissioner. That's all that they were given. And then on the deed stuff, or well, not the, yeah, on the warranty deed, it says conveys and warrants to the tenants, full rights of supervisorship, which is address there, filed to describe premises, for the consideration of what they sold it for, subject to easement, use, building, and other restrictions of record, if any. This property may be located within the vicinity of farmland or farm operations, generally accepted agricultural management practices, which may generate noise, dust, odors, and other associated conditions, may be used, are protected by the Michigan Right to Farm Act. Grantor grants the grantee to make any divisions under section 108 of the Land Division Act. So, I mean, right there it says subject to easement, use, building, and other restrictions of record, if any. And through all the researching that they did, there was no restrictions placed upon that, at least that they could find it. And then, like I said, Exhibit A does say together, all it says for that is together with and subject to an easement for the purposes of ingress and egress being 66 feet wide, 33 feet on each side of the following prescribed center line. And then there's one other Detroit Edison overhead and underground easement right of way, was given to that, for that private drive. The purpose of this right of way is to construct, reconstruct, modify, and add to operate, maintain underground utility lines consisting of poles. Access, grantee has the right to access to and from the right of way area. Structures or other buildings, no buildings or permanent structures are allowed in the right of way. Trees, bushes, branches, roots, and structure fences guarantee may trim, cut down, remove, and otherwise control any trees, bushes, branches, and roots in the right of way area. I mean, the other thing to consider too is that, at least in the current state guidelines that I've been looking up, because we've been dealing with this, is that, the state even says that the people that own the private road are supposed to give the township, are supposed to grant the township access for, public vehicles. So like, fire truck and all that can go down it. And if there's not that on hand, according to the state, fire truck shouldn't be going down the private road either, even if the house is on fire, according to what the state considers. But that being said, like I said, the attorney said, since they have not found, basically their guidance was because they haven't found any restrictions, the easement is, ingress egress is broad, as Troy said. There's nothing preventing us from approving this, as long as they meet the special land use permit requirements.
Approving a rezoning to make it.
It's not a rezoning, it's a special land use permit. Rezoning would be, we are taking it from residential to commercial or anything like that. We're not doing that. We're giving them a special land use permit to do what has been deemed a low,
Well, how were they able to stop the
intensity
garbage
use.
truck from going down there and
They're not.
I mean,
That's up to
right-
the garbage company.
And the
They,
mail.
they can tell the garbage company, we don't want you to come down the road, and they won't.
okay.
But if you ask them to come down your road, they might, especially if you have a tournament.
Well, no.
Well, they do, they go down plenty of, the previous company and the current company go down plenty of private roads.
Not mine.
Maybe yours isn't wide enough, because you got a lot of tree coverage, so they might say no.
Well, shortly after we moved there, another fellow moved in, and we noticed the garbage truck coming down. We thought, great, so we put our garbage can out in the driveway. Well, a few times, and that was it. They were stopped from coming down there. I don't know why.
It must have been one of the neighbors, then I'm guessing. Or, like I say, the tree coverage and stuff, they might have said, hey,
Well,
we're not doing
there's
this.
only 4 of us that live on the road.
Yeah, but there's like 6 or 7 properties that have joined that road, right?
Well, there's one
I
fellow,
don't know.
Brandon owns, I think,
2 parcels.
2 parcels. And then, so anyway, but, as far as I know, the people that lived on the road were for the garbage truck coming, and it was stopped.
They have talked to the garbage company, because I know they go down a lot of private roads. And they're aware of it, it's not like it's a secret or accident.
They don't come down.
And the school bus doesn't go down, but that's because it's their policy. The mail doesn't like going down to them because it's their policy, but all day they'll come up and they'll go to your residence, drop off the package, and deliver your mail to your mailbox on the main.
I don't know.
I don't understand the post office at all.
I have a thought on that. I live towards the end of Rupert Road, and down further, is actually a private road. There's about 8 houses down there. Now the garbage truck goes down there, the school bus goes down there. So I guess it's just a matter of asking the garbage truck. Or
Right, it's not like it's our rules or anything, it's
No,
mine.
no, it isn't.
They might have their own rules.
Well, and that's where I was saying that, like, the state even outlines, like, new private roads going in and all that should have
Have an agreement on record.
an agreement on, well, but that includes like public service vehicles, the garbage truck and all that should, and then part of that recording would be, like, yes, you can bring the emergency services can come down the road, because that wouldn't be often, but you don't have the right to allow the garbage truck to come down there, because that would overburden the road. Like, that's what the state kind of the state guidelines for private roads are, is like, yeah, you also file that with the township that you've established the private
But
road
if you
in.
didn't, there's no rules stopping
Right,
you.
yeah, there's nothing stopping them other than people just going like, no, we don't want you coming down here because it's tearing up the road.
So will we schedule this to actually be a subject on next meeting then? Because I did not know it was coming up, so I didn't bring my previous
Right.
paperwork with me for this. I mean, I seen this, don't get me wrong, I just thought somebody sent an extra letter. You know, public hearing date, so officially, which we can always see a letter anytime or hear from you anytime, but officially this letter should have been before that meeting 2 months ago,
Right.
because that's when we held the public hearing. But we could have already acted on it. We didn't act on it, so you're here plenty of time, doesn't matter. But that's my point, I just thought this was in case, because the last it was left a month ago was,
Right. She doesn't
I don't even know if
have
this is gonna
anymore.
be done today, we're gonna see.
Well, but I also
So I
said,
wasn't prepared
said
to
it's
act on it.
always gonna be on the agenda.
Yeah, I heard
Just
you.
her,
I guess I heard you, but I
to
didn't.
her
prepare
to
for it.
not, like, we would reach out and let her know
Yeah.
specifically, like, yeah, we've gotten to the point where, and I don't know if that happened or not, but like, we would reach out and say like, yeah, you don't need to keep coming to every meeting until we find more information out. We will let you kind of know when we've gotten to the point. So, I mean, we could put it, if you want, like, we can put it at the special meeting that we're gonna have in 2 weeks.
I didn't call her,
Yeah.
because at this point, she's not gonna be able to do anything, I mean, as far as any documentation. You know, I don't know.
What do you mean? She should already have, I think she already had like the pre-documentation with the state.
Yeah, what I'm saying, any further than what we've already received
Right.
from her.
Well, just to be here to know that she,
Yeah,
if we had any questions, because we asked some questions, but we didn't ask a whole lot because we got stopped at the point of like, well, this is on a private road. Do you have documentation of any
Right.
restrictions on there?
yeah, she couldn't get anything, the title company didn't have anything,
Right.
yeah, which is kinda crazy in itself, but.
Well, I mean, again, we've seen this with multiple private roads in the township.
Yeah,
Depending on when they got put in, who knows if there was a zoning ordinance at the time, or what the zoning ordinance at the time was.
I'm currently working with the legal team to, get a solution for that, for the whole township.
Right.
Because you gotta have, some of these private roads don't even have enough space down at the end for an emergency vehicle to turn around.
Right, yeah, I mean, I know the one at the end of Freewell Boulevard right now, they never put in a turnaround. It was initially established as a shared driveway, and that they eventually were like, well, it's a private road, except it
Which
doesn't
that-
even meet the minimum requirements of a private road.
That there is in state law. They have to have.
Have the turnaround.
Yeah,
Once you establish it as a private road.
private road or even private, shared driveways have to have a turnaround.
I thought that was if it served more than 2 properties.
More than
Yeah,
two.
yeah, more than 2 properties.
Yeah. I mean, if we want to table it again until the next month, so you
I will.
can look
Full
over
disclosure, I probably won't be at the 28th meeting because I have a graduation that day
the 14th.
for one of my granddaughters. Oh, 14th is today.
Oh, I'm giving, no, the 11th is the next meeting.
Oh,
I'm saying
not talking about that one.
potential, I mean, if we put it at the meeting in 2 weeks for the zoning
That one I
ordinance
might
stuff,
not be at.
that just means we'll have less time to go over the zoning ordinance stuff.
Right.
So,
Okay.
like, if we wanna table it, I need to understand when we're gonna table it to.
Oh, well, the 28th is my possible problem.
Anybody else?
I guess technically all we're really doing is trying to decipher whether or not it's legal or not. That's all.
I mean, you said the attorney came back after consulting colleagues saying, like, there's not really anything stopping us from approving it.
Right, if there was something, the key thing is in that that says ingress, egress. That's it.
And no additional
That's-
restrictions.
Right. If you want something else, you need to put it in there. Otherwise, that just says that people can come and go over your property, you know? So, I don't know. Maybe that needs to be readjusted, or I don't know how you go about doing that, but.
Well, and like I read in the warranty deed, it's subject to easement use, buildings, and other restrictions of record, if any. And we're saying no restriction of record was found.
Found it, no. I mean, maybe there was over the years, but it's not at the register of deeds unless they have it in some other.
On that egress and ingress, they're going over our private property. Doesn't that have something to, some kind of limits? Because, people can't drive across your lawn. They,
Well, I mean, what you're talking about is the difference between are they on the road or are they driving through your yard? If they're using the roadway that's established as the ingress and egress, yes, they are crossing over they're over your property line. They're driving down the established roadway.
but it's our road. We own it, we maintain it. The county doesn't cut back on my taxes for maintaining it. We maintain that road. It's
Right,
for
and
us to use, not for, I don't believe, allowing.
well,
business.
I mean, what's different from? I guess she also has the right. She also has the right to use the road if her desired use is to be able to babysit kids, and people are dropping their kids off, like that. You're essentially getting to a point where it's all like, well, I don't want people, you have friends over or whatever like that. Like you have the use right over the road. If you can access egress, ingress out of the road, and legally within the zoning ordinance, you could have this, that unless it was put in a restriction on the easement itself, and that's what the attorney's saying, unless there's a documented restriction on the easement saying, you can't have, this is only for residential use, and nothing beyond that. Like I said, Bob can speak to it more, and obviously maybe not tonight, but he can speak to it more about putting restrictions on the deed, and registering it with the county on the private roads. And I mean, not for nothing, like you could also, because she should potentially be increasing the usage on the road. There's also nothing stopping everybody from agreeing, like paying into the maintenance of the road. Maybe she helps, cover some of that cost.
If the road gets destroyed, do they have to?
Because she's also responsible, according to the state, if she's gonna have people coming up and down the road, she's responsible for telling them the state of the road. And if something were to happen coming up and down the road, she would be responsible because she is causing those people to come up and down the road. Just like if you had friends coming over, technically you are responsible for letting them know, yeah, the road's washed out or something like that. So if something were to happen for them going up and down the road, you would be liable because you didn't tell them, oh, well, the road's washed out down here. You gotta, go to this side to get past it or whatever. But there is nothing stopping. There's really nothing stopping you guys from going and setting up an agreement for road maintenance now. You could go and everybody could agree, we're gonna, based on the road usage,
That's what I would recommend.
everybody's gonna go in and it's gonna pay, and then she could potentially agree to pay a little bit more because she's increasing the traffic on the road. That would be a recommendation for any of these private roads going forward, is people should probably start working to talk together to make sure that everybody is in agreement of what the restrictions are. If
All
there
your
isn't restrictions,
Have to be on a separate sheet at the register of deeds.
yeah.
Restrictions are never on the same page as the deeds. They cost to have them listed. There'll be a second page if you guys decide to do that. And then if you have 6 people that own property, say you put $1,000 into the road, it'll be split 6 ways. Because this year you might have just you two. Now next year, maybe now grandkids move in or something. Now you have traffic more and
Well, the
it's usually
state
just a
also-
percentage.
Well, the state also offers that you should look up, was it like maintenance based on the amount of frontage that you own on the road and the, you know,
Goes
your
by square footage.
usage and all that.
By square footage, if you own 1,000 feet and the other person owns 300 feet, the 1,000 will pay 3 times as much. It's always figured by frontage on the road. And that's how you set it up. But again, it has to be on a separate piece of paper, which I doubt it was ever done when they did that road. But you guys could legally put that in there and draw it up. But it'll go by footage of each, how much do you own for road frontage?
Well, at this point, everybody would have to agree to it.
Like I just said,
And
everybody
they
will
can
have
agree
to
to it
agree.
any way they want, by the way, it could be per parcel, it could be per frontage, it could be.
It could be, but he's talking state statute is by the footage. You guys can draw anything up you want.
Well, the state recommends at minimum frontage on the road, but they also say like you should also consider usage and all of that, cause like, well, you know, this person runs a daycare out of their house, well, maybe they pay a little bit more because they've increased the traffic.
Well, I mean, it's, to your point there, Mr. Ryle, it's probably too late for us to go and get that restriction now, correct? I mean,
No, you could draw it up. Now, she might not sign, 2 of the other people might not sign. You say there's 4 on that property?
yes,
You are gonna have to agree whatever it is. Whatever you want done on that, right down to snow plowing, those should be listed, and what percentages will be what you guys draw up on that.
Yeah.
Once that's registered to register of deeds, that's the way it goes on that property.
And that helps for like also
Future.
future sale of your property on that too,
100%.
because now it's established, like who's maintaining the road, who's doing this, where is this, how is this getting taken care of in the future, as opposed to like, for example, the road that I mentioned at the end of Freewald is my grandfather's private road, well, my dearly departed grandfather's private road. He did all the maintenance at the time. Now that he's passed away, who's responsible for taking care of the road and maintaining the road? There's no establishment of who's taking care of the road because he was the one that was doing it all this time. Now, if you guys set up a road maintenance agreement, and everybody agrees to like, yes, this is the percentages, this is how this is gonna go, you also at the same time all work together and come up with an agreement of restrictions of usage, all that gets filed with the Register of Deeds, and then that goes with the property, so then every time a piece of parcel gets sold on there, like it's already established, like, yeah, this is what your rights are, as opposed to just, yeah, you have egress, ingress, because it's such a broad terminology. But, again, that requires everybody to, at this point, it's gonna require everybody to, come together and agree as to what that's gonna look like. But yeah, I mean, for everybody, it's probably best to like have that conversation. Like everybody that owns property on that road, even if they don't have a driveway out to the road, if they have frontage on the road, the state
Parcel
considers,
owner.
yeah,
And hypothetically, for instance, the one gentleman we know owns 2 parcels, then he would theoretically get 2 votes. He has 2 parcels.
okay.
Yes, I want it, no, I don't, he washes himself out.
right.
Or
But yeah,
yes
even
and
if there's
yes,
a-
no and no.
So the other example that I was going for is like, I think there's that property right there on the corner on Brown and Oak. I don't think they have a driveway that comes that'd be the west side.
Yeah, the one on the west side doesn't own any access on the road.
Doesn't, yeah, so they don't own access on the road.
But,
But according to the state, because they have frontage on it, they would, according to the state, they have say. But even though they don't have access to it, they may not have historically had ingress egress rights.
well, I'm gonna say
But
this.
that is a problem because, that fellow does use the road.
Right, and then that would be to go back.
But
and
we
ask-
don't know that he doesn't have the right. We
No,
don't
no,
know
I'm not, I'm
that.
not, yeah, I'm not,
Because his property
right.
is the road right away, and that's the abutting line.
right.
That person may have easement rights.
Well, that's what
We
I'm saying,
know.
I don't
May
know
not.
that, I'm just saying, the state, whether easement rights are there or not, the state basically says, if you have frontage on it, regardless of whether you have a driveway out onto that road,
You're saying if they have a driveway. I'll still
Driveway,
disagree with
excuse
you
me.
if they own.
if they have egress, ingress rights on the road. The
Thank
state just looks at it as like, do you have frontage on the private road? Then you have rights to stay on the
Unless it's
road.
in your restrictions.
Unless it's in the
that's
restrictions.
Like,
What's that?
unless it's in your restrictions, that section, parcel up there, that one, is exempt from using the road. I have several of them drawn up. They border the road, but they don't have no access to it.
Right.
They didn't wanna pay a maintenance, so therefore, they do not get to use it, but mine is deeded and recorded. And it'll all be whatever you guys decide.
Yeah.
And he would be a key one too up front, in my opinion, that he's gonna need to have a say in it, cause otherwise he can keep using it. He's gonna have to agree to stay off, because he does have an easement off Brown Road.
Right.
Yeah, that's correct. You're not landlocking him, he has access to his property, but it's the way the attorney draws it up on your restrictions.
If he was ever granted.
Whatever it was,
Yeah.
no, but even in the future.
Yeah.
Right now, you wanna start from somewhere to prevent the same hours of meetings here and hashing it around, maybe somebody sells next year back there. The guy with 2 lots, he wants to sell it. Well, now, you guys have this in set up, here it is, your title company gets the recording, bang, he can sell the property, but he has to do the maintenance, whatever you guys decide, whatever you put in writing.
Yeah, and when the young lady was here, she didn't seem opposed to helping, pay extra costs if she was going to be having this thing here. You would just be defining that in the restrictions.
You know, there's people, there are neighbors, who really like them, and I told them, I didn't wanna be a butt about this, but I didn't really want that to happen. So, whatever happens, happens.
I mean, I think it's just based on all the issues that we've been having with private roads, it's probably just in everybody's best interest that lives on the road to have a conversation about this, because it's gonna cause everybody headache, right? Because, yeah, you definitely don't want it, but basically our ordinances say for a special land use, it's like, well, she meets it. All we can ask is like, are you willing to give these kind of concessions, and considerations to the neighbors, like, will you put up a fence or put up a row of trees or something like that, and then they can, they may or may not agree as part of the stipulation, to the approval. They may say like, yeah, we'll put up a row of arborvitae in between to deaden sound and all that. But, in general, it's like the same thing we had with the marijuana facilities when they first came in. Like, we allowed it in this zone if they meet the requirements of the special land use permit. Beyond that, like, we want your feedback to be able to guide, good neighborship, but like, there's not much we can do, right? Like, the ordinance is, the state basically says, like, they meet the requirements, you gotta approve it. Now, if it were a true rezoning, like you guys had said, you were opposed to the rezoning, then your feedback would be like, Yeah, I mean, everybody that owns property around you doesn't want to rezone, so we're not gonna rezone. That's a different scenario.
A lot of times though, when you see these 75 years ago when the easement was given, what was the intent? It was for residential, and they don't take that into consideration. I live on a private drive, and I'm gonna test that garbage truck thing, see if I can, because I don't like carrying my garbage a quarter mile down the road to take it, you know?
Do you have a turnaround down at the end of your road?
Well, it's in the neighbor's driveway, it's a turnaround, so I'll see.
Yeah, if you don't have the 75-foot turnaround, you're
75
probably
foot
not
circle
gonna.
radius, no backup, no go forward, state law.
What's that now?
75 foot radius, that's what's required for a turnaround for emergency vehicles
That's the
on private
interpretation.
road.
No, that is,
Everything.
He's talking about a different one right now. He's not talking about yours.
That one they don't.
Right. Theirs has one that's, I have no idea if it's 75 foot or not. You have to turn around.
that I did find in the state stuff, it calls out it's a 75
That's
foot
not what it
radius.
is. I know they have one, I don't know what the measurement is.
Oh.
I know his road doesn't have one.
Right.
Well, there isn't 75 feet there to do it unless one of you neighbors gives it up.
Right.
You never know.
Anyway, alright, so it sounds like we're gonna table this again, probably sounds like the easiest is just to table it to the June 11th meeting. Because then that won't, get us off track on the zoning ordinance.
June 11th, you said?
Yep.
It'll be the June 11th meeting, yeah. Yeah, I mean, what we'll do is we'll reach out to the young lady that wants to do this, have her here. If there's questions about like how she's gonna operate and all that, then we can, ask her and be like, hey, how are you gonna do this? What are you gonna do? Can we make these types of considerations? Like hours of operation, all that kind of stuff, to help preserve, as much of your use of your own property as well. But again, like I said, I think outside of this, it probably is best for everybody on that road to have a conversation about like maintenance and all that.
Before the
Now,
11th.
Before the
I
meeting.
would see
Before the 11th.
everybody
that would
get
be
together.
So you got till the 11th to have maintenance.
Either way though, if we wait till the 11th,
Well-
that gives her a chance to be here, you all have a chance to be here, answer questions.
Yeah,
It is a special land use, so we might be able to get some, concessions in there.
it would be concessions that
approve it.
she's willing to give, yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right, and it can be documented if she agrees
Yeah.
and so on.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, if she agrees and puts restrictions on her operation, if anybody wanted to do that type of special land use in the future, they would also have to follow those because she put those restrictions on that type of operation. So, that it's good to be here and ask for, like, if she'd be willing to give, those types of conditions.
Meeting with all your neighbors though is important
Yes.
because get it on there and have it registered like what Bob's saying going forward. I mean, that way you don't wind up with a Harley shop across the road or something, because you'll have that.
Let's keep in mind, that's less likely to happen
I'm
because it is
just saying.
residential property, and that's not already in the book as a right to do.
Yeah,
This is in the book as you can do it with this permit.
right.
A Harley shop is not in the book.
I'm
We
just
could not do
saying,
it.
it depends on what your attorney's gonna say.
Okay.
You can get 10 attorneys and they'll all say something different.
All right. If, with that, then, at 8:18, we will open the public hearing for Vassar Greenhouse LLC, special land use permit renewal,
8 what?
8/18.
Okay.
Thank you. Any members of the public received notice for this renewal that wish to speak at this time? If not, then at 8:18, we will close the public hearing for the Vassar Greenhouse LLC special land use permit renewal.
Go over the clock 1 minute, huh?
30 seconds, that's where I put no comment.
But no public comment.
Marijuana coordinator notes, for Vassar Greenhouse. All postings and mailings were done, no complaints have been received, no violations have been issued, and the application document, address, ownership, interest, etc. match what was approved at last year's renewal with no changes.
So should they have put that in the renewal section? Cause isn't that where they put any changes?
It's just saying that the ownership is still Nino, Charette,
Because it says, please provide any changes.
No, this information is just from Rachel. or
yeah,
now it would
this,
be from-
this is just her saying, like,
Right.
because we had questions before, this is just her saying,
But on the application, they got changes.
it's,
He has two signatures on the one page, is that what you're talking about?
Very bottom.
you're talking where,
Please provide any changes to the information provided in your original package.
yeah,
And they said
we
100%
have,
ownership change.
I mean,
Oh,
we've done
you're,
this
you're
before.
catching like I've done before.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
inaccurately
I've heard-
answering it. He's
Right.
inaccurately answering it.
I learned from you.
Okay. So that's the kind of thing I would normally question, yes, because he shouldn't have put it there since there was no change.
But it is still, it is still at 3867 Crooked Creek. I mean, it literally just them taking the old,
Yeah, they're just copying.
taking the old one and updating, like the very first application and just updating the date on it. I mean, I guess that would be a thing for the new
He needs to
marijuana.
watch for.
The new marijuana coordinator maybe suggest a edit to the application.
That-
So along with what Lori is saying though, if you look at the back of the special use application, it's the same signature twice. But again, the person signed two lines and I didn't think they should, but maybe.
Well, one is the applicant's signature and one is the property owner's signature.
It doesn't say that.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
It's covered by his signature because
Yeah.
the document signed it.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't catch that. Thank you, looks fine to me now. It's not there, it is. Anyway, so that made it look like there were two and now there's one, so I wondered about that, but she says there's no change, so I didn't. I wouldn't even bring it up.
It might just be, just a matter of adding a couple of check boxes saying, instead of, where it's like, provide any, information change, maybe just adding a checkbox of like, is there new information, or is this, the same existing information in that section? And whatever else you wanna see added, just to make your life easier.
Okay.
Alright, I mean, outside of that, I'll make a motion to approve renewal of Vassar Greenhouse LLC's, Class B medical and Class B adult use, special land use permit renewal as presented. Do I have a second? Ben seconds, so I have a motion and a second to approve Vassar Greenhouse LLC's Class B medical and Class B adult use special land use permit renewal. Any further discussion? If not, roll call vote, please.
Todd,
Yes.
Sam,
Yes.
Gloria, yes. Devin,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
All right, motion passes. And we will move on to discussion and action on Parks and Recreation requests. So in terms of my report, you have some of the documentation that they supplied in your packet. The overall summary is mostly what their meeting was about the budget stuff, which you have a letter for their budget for events, and their budget for the Parks and Rec Committee as a whole. The one meeting, or the one letter, now, I know this is will probably ruffle some feathers, but the one is establishing a separate budget for events from the Parks and Rec, because not every event is a Parks and Rec event. And when they were discussing this, I made the suggestion that they also present come up and present a policy for establishing who has access to the event funds and how it's to be used, and guidelines in that respect, so they can, so it can become more of a township event fund as opposed to just controlled and operated by the Parks and Rec Committee, being that we've had some events that the township hall itself has put on, and that funding could be used between the two, was kind of my suggestion. I think
We
it's,
discussed something like that before.
well, before it was discussed to make the event coordinator its own standalone. In this instance, it is its own standalone budget, but the event you'd basically be able to, through the policies and procedures, you'd be able to establish, like, yes, this event coordinator is appointed by the Parks and Rec for this event because it's a Parks and Rec event. This event coordinator has been appointed because it is something that the township itself is putting on. And then the funding, the general funding would come out of that total event budget.
So there'll be 2 or 3 event coordinators?
They won't really be event coordinators in the sense that so that's where the policy and procedures come into play. It would be establishing of an event budget, and then part of that would be establishing who has access to the funds, how the funds are spent and managed, so we can get away from this, like, okay, well, this money is part of the Parks and Rec budget, which then hampers them a little bit, but then the township also, other people in the township administration want to have events at the hall and put on events and all that, so now this funding could be established that, like, okay, well, everybody can do this. And then it makes the event coordinator a little bit looser in terms of, like, you're establishing it through the policies and procedures at that point. So the clerk could be an event coordinator because she is the one wanting to put on the event. She's the one determining what funds is needed and in the budget and all that. But
they both use the same budget.
But it would come out of the same account, essentially. Yes. But that allows for better tracking and better management of the funds, because right now it kind of gets muddied into, the Parks and Rec budget, where it's all like, okay, well, the Parks and Rec spent this,
Right.
but you're not really monitoring necessarily within that fund where the money, is going 100%. You're not saying, like, well, we were specifically pulling money. Like, we have that in the minutes and all that, and like how it was divvied out, but it's not like it's coming from this specific fund. And this is all stuff to go with the budgeting stuff that's coming up, so that's why they wanted to get it to us now.
So, can I ask an important question right
Yep.
off the bat? For events, they're requesting a total of $22,900 or $290. We have 2 documents in front of us, 11,000,
No, I thought the
thousand
was
for events
11,000.
and 10,290 for
I see that.
She just rounded it up, she just rounded it up in the overall budget request.
So this one only is budget request.
This one that has all the events listed out is specifically like what is being asked for event budgeting. And it goes with this letter that says, I respectfully submit the following proposal for the establishment of a formal event coordinator.
All right.
Formal event coordinator,
I've seen
budget
that.
and purchasing policy.
I've seen that one.
So
Which
those-
one does it go with, the multi-page one?
It'll go more with the multi-page one if that letter kind of comes to
This
fruition.
go together, and then over here separately, they're requesting 11,000.
Right, but that's like, if it doesn't become its own formal separate budget, it is going to be part of the 63,880 that the park wants.
My question would be as far as for each event, it shows how much money you want. So, I mean, this event cost me 5,000, but the money that they get from that proceeds, the fundraisers, there's no
Like that Bob
recording
Leffer
of it, of where that money's at.
Is he not?
I mean, and I know it's only a
13,
couple hundred, but it should be recorded on what the money that they receive from that event goes. You got money coming in, but it doesn't show where it goes.
Well, that's part of the establishment of the separate budget. Well, I mean, he walked away, so he said I'd record, but he walked away. So we'll be back at 8:31. Yeah, the
That's what I'm
63,
saying.
yeah, the
The
63 is about the same what they requested last year.
Right, but
But
on
they
the
got
event of
50,000
the trivia night, you have people that are paying to get food, paying for
Well, that's
the
the
booze and
pay,
stuff. And
that's,
so you take $300 in that night, where does that come in and out of the budget? Shows what's going out, but it doesn't show what's coming in.
well, I mean, they wouldn't know what's coming in until they basically set those rates for those
Right.
events.
But even, I mean,
Does it-
we've been
if
doing this for over a
If
year
it's
now.
separate, does it go back into the budget for,
Well, right now, I don't know that it's ever been officially established where that money that they bring in is supposed to go. I don't,
Didn't you bring that up in there someplace? Because we talked about that. Yeah, we did.
well, the idea is that it goes back into, like, they've been operating under the assumption that it's going back into the Parks and Rec budget. But it has never been officially established by policy that that's where any of that fundraising money is going. It's just that's what has been treated as.
Yeah, I think there has to be something that shows, this is how much money we put out for that event, this is how much money we brought in, here's the difference.
Well, that would be separate from this. This would be, you're basically saying, they're basically going like, this is what it's going to cost approximately to have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 events. Independent of if their trivia night is used as a fundraising process, or if the Mother's Day event, or Father's Day event has a cost associated with it going forward. I don't think they will, but like the Halloween or the Haunted Trail does have some money come in because they do charge, I think they charged like $1 last year or something like that.
do they have a Wi-Fi, bill now that it's been changed?
Well, that would be part of the annual, yeah, that would go
Because
down.
they got 1,800 for Wi-Fi.
Well, at the time that they did this,
Right.
it was before they cut that off and just put in a repeater over there.
And I do not know I don't know before, let alone now,
Right.
what has been assessed to them, what hasn't.
Right. Well, I mean, it was brought up, that you have all these other things, maintenance and all that. I mean, to me, the general cleanup and maintenance of the park, if we have a park, it's gotta be maintained to some standard, otherwise, or what are you gonna do, let it overgrow and, I mean, are we not gonna lead by example is, I guess, what I would get at, like, are we not gonna lead by example and we're just gonna let it grow up, like, no, we're gonna have to mow it and all that anyway. But I don't know that, to your point, I don't know that it's ever been established, like, where is that maintenance money coming from, because it's a township maintenance person, it's not, I mean, it used to be the park person, but now it's a general township person. I mean, that is something for the board of trustees to figure out, would be my guess, is like, how are they going to account for that? And are they currently making, the current township maintenance person track their hours for, like, I did this many hours over there, I did this many hours over
They
here?
had that, and then they took that away, because he was getting salary and hourly for a while. And then they took that down and gave him just one salary.
Right, but what
Right.
I'm saying is, the establishment of which budget is paying
Documenting
for.
his hours.
Yeah,
In other words, a third of my time was here, 2/3 was there.
right,
And that's up to the board
right,
anyway, how they do that.
but, you know, that is
But
what.
that being said, then what are like trail improvements and maintenance 15,000?
So that is part of the master plan. The master plan had listed that, and I mean, this was supposed to have been done 3 years ago now, that they were going to pave one of the trails to be ADA compliant. Or, well, pave it or put in some sort of surfacing that would make it an ADA compliant path. Because right now, the only ADA, from my understanding, the only point in the park that is truly ADA compliant is the ramp getting up onto the playground, to the swings, and the walkway to the pavilion. Outside of that, we basically don't have any ADA compliance beyond those 2 points. So it would be improving one of the well, I mean, part of it, the trail improvement would just be like maintaining the trails and making sure that there's no roots sticking up for people to trip over. But one of the big costs was to actually make a trail ADA compliant. Whether that be,
So did they get a quote, or is this 15,000 just a number out there?
I think they talked, if I remember correctly, they talked to someone and it was based off of like what, you know, a number that they'd heard from, like what it cost to do the rail trail, like part of the rail trail, like paid part of the rail trail, which was years and years and years ago. Yeah.
With the fuel the way it is now.
Right. Well, and that was something that they are vastly aware of, is that some of these things may move, because like the parking lot improvement, they're being pushed and told that they've got to cover the parking lot in the same material as the township hall parking lot. And get it up to the same standard, because they're, you know, sharing the driveway. I still think, because the township made the connection, the township should be somewhat responsible for putting that gravel down, but that is neither here nor there. But they do have it in there as for parking lot improvements of the $10,000 to be able to do that. And they are aware that the costs may shift and they may lose a project or two for that. But they are also applying for several grants to help with a lot of this. I mean, for the most part, this is just us saying like, yeah, this is what's there. I mean, you could make some points to it, but it's ultimately to the board of trustees as to how much they're gonna approve. Just because they report to us, it passes through us.
Right.
So I'm still trying to figure out what all the different numbers, I'm not talking about the individuals, I understand. Line item events, 11,000, playground, 25,000. But then you have another category, and then you have the other page. Which one are we supposed to be looking at, or we have to make a decision between an A and B first, and then look at one? That's what I'm trying to figure out, because I took it as two different things where they were requesting 11,000 for one and 10,000, not 290 for the other, and it was gonna total 22, not 290. That's the way I.
The 10, the
interpret it.
10, 2290, the
Those-
10,
those are-
2290 is the tight budget. And as we've told them, like, this is just a, like,
So it's
but
an
roughly-
either or, it's not a combined.
it's not a
I'm
combined,
over
they're
that.
not
So-
gonna be, it's not gonna suddenly jump up to 20,000 or $21,000.
That's, okay,
Yeah.
so now I'm settled with that.
Yeah.
But how do we determine which one we're looking at then? What's the choice here? What are we supposed to decide?
Well,
And you said this,
the,
this letter goes
it's,
with
the
this.
choice, the choice is basically like, the choice is like, so these two pieces, the multi-page thing and then the other letter, the single page letter about establishing an event coordinator budget, they would go together if the board decides to establish a event coordinator budget. Otherwise, if they don't want to do that, it just falls back to this one pager of like this, but this specific thing, like the general outline of what they want to do, still stands, but the budget now just comes out of the overall Parks and Rec budget, as opposed to a separate established budget. It's not really an either or, it's just like, yeah, this is a detailed breakdown of the events.
So in their example, hypothetically speaking, if we recommended to the board and if the board approved this option, then this still needs to be approved, but minus the 11,000.
That, the 11,000 will come out if the
this
board,
is approved, what's
if the
automatic
board
is-
approves this,
If some version of this,
some version of this letter here, which is the establishment of an event coordinator budget and purchasing policy.
okay?
Like, so establishing a separate,
I understand
Fine,
that. So if the board does that,
yeah,
then
This is-
the 11,000 comes out of here. It's not part of the budget anymore.
is not part of the Parks and Rec budget, correct?
I think I've got what they were
Yeah.
trying to do.
And then this, like, so if they don't approve this, this still goes with this. This is just a more
This
detailed
is
breakdown
okay, this is the
specifically
overall.
of the events and how they got to the $11,000-ish that they're requesting for the Parks and
Because
Rec.
it came out to 10,290, they rounded up.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
I understand.
Yeah. This still goes in tandem with this. It just becomes, does that 11,000 come out of here, or does that 11,000 stay?
I understand now. If this gets approved, this is by itself.
Yeah.
If this gets denied, this is documentation documenting this. for-
Correct. Yes.
Now I got it.
Yep.
It's gonna be hard to remember, but I got it.
Yeah.
You won't remember it, you better put down notes.
But yes, that's what that is. That, because and to their credit, at least with the events, they have a detailed request that they can follow that we've been telling them to pull together.
Does explain it budget-wise,
Yeah.
but I still would like to, and I don't know if we do it here or what we do about a policy where after each event, you get a breakdown like this for each event showing this event, this is what we spent for these things, and this is what we brought in for these things in a total.
She's working on that.
Well, I mean, that would also be, that's part of the establishment of the event budget. Like, even if it's not establishing its own separate budget, the board of trustees should establish a policy of how events are ran and what documentation and all, like, that's on the board of trustees to establish.
Are you taking notes over there?
Just on what I gotta remember, that I
It's
can
like
try.
you're the board of trustees, so he's saying.
Well, this is
Well,
part
I
of
can't
the,
write as fast as y'all are talking, so.
this would be part of, that would be the board of trustees saying, going forward, events, I mean, they should have a general, like, expenditures anyway and how it's tracked and all that, but they should specifically create a policy that says, when you're running events, this is the documentation, and I would even go so far as to say that policy then also establishes where, when they do fundraising events, what pot is that money going into? Because I'm 95% sure that has never been established. Because they just started kind of doing event fundraising out of the blue. So that's something that needs to be brought up I don't know if it would it be at the budgeting meetings, or would it be at the annual meeting that something like that would be brought up?
I mean, if it's gonna require money, it should come up with the budget hearings first, but then it has to be ratified or no. That's a board issue probably, it's not even. Annual meeting only approves the payroll for the board, as far as meeting.
Yeah.
You have the right to vote, and your vote counts 100% towards it.
Right,
Everything else is, the public is recommending the board look at this or look at that.
right,
We're directing you to consider this.
Right.
We want it.
right.
But that doesn't mean the board has to do it, or then they get the chance to alter
But
it.
but I'm saying like the policy,
Policy would be the regular meeting.
would just be at a
There
meeting.
is a Parks and Rec policy out there somewhere.
Well, no, like
I don't have
the,
mine in front of me, because
no,
I agree with it.
like fundraising and all that, like
Oh.
establishing, like,
A policy to establish.
establishing the, like, when you have an event, this is how the funding is being tracked. This, if you do event fundraising,
I guess
this
the
is,
board has to figure that out, yeah.
right. But wouldn't necessarily need to be part of the budget stuff,
That would be kicked down the road 2 years.
yeah.
I mean, that should be automatic from the Parks and Rec right off the bat. They should be tracking everything and turning it in then.
Well, I mean, they're turning in.
We asked for
requests.
$700,
Yeah,
and we spent it, and we collected whatever amount. Here is both, there's the receipts, and here's the.
well, they do give them the receipts of like they're not doing the actual purchasing, that's,
Right.
yeah, that's coming from somebody else, but the money coming in, they are giving them, like, here's what was brought in,
And how and why, and so.
but I don't think it was ever established of
And
where
then
does that
John
money
has to
actually
figure out
go.
one of the lines.
I personally just have a problem with keep using the word fundraising, so I don't think the township should be involved in that at all. If it's an event that has a cost to it, you can recoup your cost, but the object shouldn't be to fundraise, in my opinion. That's just my view.
Well, it'd be a whole lot easier though to approve an increase in funding if you have the exact breakdown for each event on what it's costing, the expenditures, and then the retrieval.
Well, I mean, you do technically have that because you have the record of what they have asked to spend.
Yeah, that's how much you want to spend, that doesn't mean that's how
It's not a
much you did
receipt of what
spend,
you
or
spent.
how much money you collected after.
But don't they turn the receipts in?
But we don't see that.
Right.
That's what I'm saying, you have that record because they do
You
payables
could
every month.
request that,
You do a breakdown just like that of each event.
so that's what you want, let him know, and then he can let Darcy know.
Doris, not
Yeah,
Darcy.
Doris.
Darcy doesn't have anything to do with this.
There's too many.
The receipts and all that, like that comes out of payables because payables goes like, well, this was spent and this is where the money is coming from. So you do have a record of what has actually been spent. What you don't have is the part of like would that be in payables? What they
But
deposited?
Give it
He
a
has a
breakdown.
sheet that shows income, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've
So-
never looked for that, so I don't know what it
Right.
is on.
John's got it all, but we need to have a breakdown.
All right, I'll take that to the Parks and Rec.
So they want $100,000, right?
We want as much as they can
Where
get.
did you see
Yeah,
that?
for sure.
Are you serious?
63,000.
Go 63 and then do 38, that's a
No, what's the
100,000.
38?
The 38 is what they project is the other services of just keeping it running. They, for some reason, put the basketball court projected expense in there, which should have been
Not there, that's
up,
supposed to be.
should have been up
right.
above. Which
Sure.
would have actually
Make
put,
that 90-some thousand.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
But I thought that they were going for grants for that, for the pickleball, and that's what.
They are going for grants, but a lot of the grants require
Matching.
they require some sort of commitment from the township. It may not be a dollar for dollar match, but some of them require if we are willing to put in a third of this if you give us 2/3 of the funding, or whatever that may be. Some of them require that kind of reciprocal response. Like you have to show that you're willing to put in some money to get some money from these grants. Some of the ones that she was talking about the other night did not necessarily require that. They were just apply for Like, we're gonna apply for this grant and they will give us what they're gonna give us,
Right.
basically. But that could still mean that the township has to put in money, because whatever grant money they get
Whatever's
may not,
over it, right.
may not cover the full expense for what they wanna put in.
Okay. I need to get back to what Bob just said, but to also ask my other question at the same time. They want approximately 25,000 for playground improvements, and they want 30,000 for a basketball court, which are included in the two totals, which come to about 100,000 some dollars. That's what they're literally asking for their budget.
Yes, I don't know why they put the basketball court down there.
Even if
but
it's moved
yes,
up, doesn't
yeah.
matter. They want that amount plus that amount hypothetically.
Whichever paragraph you put it
So
in,
that
it's
is
still the total.
100,000 almost.
I mean, here's the thing. I've been on multiple budget requests in corporate America. You know what you do? You shoot for the moon, and then they give you what they give you.
Okay, so they're shooting for the moon. I hope that's what the answer is.
I mean, we could do the exact same thing. We could shoot for the moon too. We can say like, hey, we've got a 5-year plan to wire everybody up with fiber optic internet in the township. Like, but this is what it's gonna cost. We're gonna need to hire engineers. We're gonna need this. We're gonna need that. Like, we can also do that. They are doing what any good Parks and Rec group should be
Okay.
doing.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the argument, that's what I want to hear. So that's what they're doing. Now, in the 25,000 for playground improvement, do they have anything, remember how this came to confusion a couple years ago? Do they have anything spelled out, like we want to do this and we want to do this if we get approved? Or do they not have that yet?
They had specific pieces of equipment and other things
They-
they wanted to do.
They had specific pieces of equipment last year. I also reminded them, like, you just put in all of that new stuff. If you are going to put new equipment in there, that may also increase the scope of the footprint because of distances between equipment. So it very well could be that, like, yeah, they get rid of the 25, you know, like, ultimately what's gonna probably happen is like, okay, yes, you could potentially get the basketball court, but then the playground equipment goes away. And they all were in agreement at the meeting, like, yes, like, you're gonna get what you get from the Board of Trustees. And then they will plan based off of what they ultimately get, but, you know, you gotta ask for something, and this is what they're asking for. And yes, some of this extra stuff that's, you know, the 38 minus, the, you know, so $8,000 is just to keep the park running as is today. I think the insurance related expenses is actually part of the events, which should probably go up there, but, because that was insurance that have the adult trivia nights. I don't know that was insurance for the park itself. I think that was that additional one.
The only other thing I had a question about, and that really doesn't, I guess it doesn't matter with the budget either, but with showing the events, how many there are, do we have something in writing yet as far as the background checks for our insurance, so that we're not getting in trouble with these events?
I mean, we had the Easter event, so
Did we resolve that with all
We were told that they had a result of the Easter egg hunt, yes.
yeah.
I've never seen it come up to the board yet as far as what's going on, I don't know.
I mean, I was told that there was some sort of check, and they had it for the Easter egg hunt as well. That's what I was.
Well, we should have that written someplace though, so that we are
that
covered.
Again, that falls back on the Board of Trustees. That's not an us. That is not an us thing. That is a requirement at the township Board of Trustees level. So if the Board of Trustees didn't follow through on that, that is the fault of the Board of
We were
Trustees.
told it was done, I don't know how it was done.
Yeah.
No paperwork came across our desk, you know, the whole committee.
So anyway, and then they did give, you know, so the event budget is broken down way more. as to what they're asking for each event. And then the annual budget is just kind of a, I mean, other than the, food for events and cleanups and the cleaning lady, which they have 0 for, and Wi-Fi per month, which is obviously has changed. And then the cost of the porta johns. But that is more of a, like, yeah, we want to try to spend this within the bounds of, one, what has been laid out in the master plan, and, two, with the parking lot, that is more of an overall push. But since this is, since this is high level budget stuff, and it ultimately is gonna come down to what the board of trustees wants to do, I don't know that we've gotta take much action beyond like, yeah, we can just pass it along to the board of trustees. Any other comments?
I mean, I can tell you that this is gonna be confusing when it gets to the budget. This breaking it up and everything. I'll try my best to, I wrote a note about what I think it means, so.
Yeah, the way that I would approach it then is the multi-page thing.
I kinda get it.
Right. But I'm
First, they
saying,
need to decide this. If
Right.
they decide this goes with it. If they decide no, this goes over here.
Right,
I get it, kinda.
he kind of,
yeah.
he'll forget.
Yeah, just the way that I would approach it is like, this multi-page thing is just the detailed breakdown that we would be asking for, generally, is the way that I would approach that. Yeah, this multi-page one is just a detailed breakdown of like, this is how I came up to this number, and attaching it to the overall budget. It only gets complicated when you add in this extra request for a separate budget. This here could be dealt with later, right?
Which thing are you looking at now?
This is the request for
Change the
the
budget.
formal
Yeah.
event coordinator budget.
I mean, it almost has to be, because that's not part of the budget request. I mean, it's not part of the budget time.
Right. It could-
Yet, if it gets approved, you need to budget for it.
Well, but you have it, but you would have technically budgeted for it because it was in the Parks and Rec
Years
budget.
ago.
You could,
Move it.
you just say like, oh, we established this, now that money comes out of here. So I would maybe even approach it that way, is, look at this as like the full breakdown expense, and then this we'd be passing on to the board of trustees as like, it might be a good idea to do this. That means just moving the $11,000 out of the Parks and Rec budget, potentially, and establishing it as its own budget. That might be the best way to approach it.
Well, Parks and Rec ought to have their own rep at that meeting.
Whichever way you go.
Well,
it's
Cheryl was
something
there.
Is she the rep on the Parks and Rec,
Yeah,
or is it the same?
no, Cheryl, is the
I don't know.
trustee. She's the liaison.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, Cheryl's the liaison.
Liaison from the board to the Parks and
Yes.
Rec, gotcha.
So she's.
And you're the liaison from the Parks and Rec to the PC.
No,
No.
I am.
No,
You are
he
now.
is.
I am.
Okay,
That's why I've been doing all the talking on this.
Because.
that's why I just looked at him though.
Because he
I was trying to
stepped
ask
down. Sam was
I
never
understand.
back, Todd stepped
Sam-
down.
Sam was for a minute, and then Todd got appointed, and Todd took over, and
And
then,
then Todd gave it up,
yeah, and then I
and
stepped
nobody
into
wanted it.
And then I stepped into the role, yeah. Anyway,
How does that, now you just, another thought came up, so if you do want to get a grant that goes towards the basketball court, how does that come back out of the budget, or do you just,
you just wouldn't have
You wouldn't
as
use
much expense on the budget.
so then does the money go back to the township, or is it spent somewhere else
No,
in
it
the
just
park?
doesn't get used. It's just a budget. It doesn't mean they have to
If
spend
they
it.
get a grant, the money stays in the township's funds. So it's not like the money's transferred to a separate bank account for the Parks and Rec. It's just money
It's just-
earmarked
it-
out of the
yeah.
township funds.
They're not
to go
supposed to
there.
spend it all, but they've gone over.
A lot.
Mhm.
Yeah,
never know.
It's the world we live in.
Yeah. You
Okay.
could clean some ditches
So-
out here so people wouldn't have water in their basements and a few other things that are living here.
So what's the VersaCourt thing then?
That just goes with, that's supporting documentation for the cost of the basketball
Basketball
court.
court, because it's a VersaCourt, it's for pickleball and basketball and everything.
Yes, it's a multi-surface court. So it has pickleball, is it pickleball, I think they had volleyball and basketball on
Yeah,
it.
all three.
And they got a grant for that?
No, not yet.
They're applying for one, but they
So
do not have.
They gotta have one that's gonna apply for all three? Or
They're,
just the basketball or?
No.
well, no, it's all one unit, it's all one unit.
Like a company that comes in and sets up where you can do all these things in one.
And I also recommended that, to the Parks and Rec chairman, like, to price out just a traditional concrete basketball court with, UV stabilized paint and all that, to see what the cost difference would be, because this VersaCourt, even though it's this tiling that goes on top
Tiling on top of what?
of a 4-inch concrete slab, so you already have to have a
So
concrete
there's
slab.
no concrete slab here, 30,000 ain't gonna touch it.
Well, this, from what I was told, this VersaCourt company, the installation company, I believe this was the one that she said that it was no, this one was just the court covering itself, not the actual. She did send one that was all-inclusive installation, and it did balloon up significantly, and that's why I told her. That's why I told her to just consider reaching out and finding like what it would cost just to do a traditional concrete basketball court.
We're not in New York City.
Well, I mean, the nice thing about this is it's UV stabilized. It is, the colors and all that. Like it will look nice. It's just, and if you've got to redo it, you don't have to strip all the paint to re-lay down lines. You just basically pull up a tile here or there to replace the tiles. I understand the concept behind it, but out here, even town just has standard concrete basketball courts.
It would be better replacing a tile than replacing the whole court, make it repair-wise better.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, either way, you gotta pour like a 4-inch concrete slab, or a 4-inch thick concrete slab with, I mean, the one company said 5,000 PSI cement, and it's all like, it doesn't really need to be 5,000 PSI cement. But anyway, to get back to this, I mean, really, this is, for this budget stuff, I think it is, yes, we looked at it, we pass it on to the board of trustees, because the board of trustees is ultimately gonna be the one that goes, yeah, you're not gonna get this much, you're only gonna get $20,000, based on what they have available for the next year.
We're looking at how much it costs to actually hire a grant writer. Because there's so much to this. If you could probably get millions of dollars in grants if you knew where to apply and what to apply for.
Well, I mean, some of the problem that we're running into is that when you find out when the grants are open, and the amount of time it takes for like if there's a requirement of the board, for us to say like, yeah, we're gonna put in X amount of money for this grant, like by the time it goes through the process, the grant has already run its course. Now, I did recommend, it's all like, a lot of these that they're looking at come up year after year after year, about the same time. So I have very strongly recommended, like, get the ducks in the row. Even if they don't do the grant the next year, you've at least done the legwork to be like, the board will approve this amount of spend if this grant becomes available again. So I've pushed that happens. working on that piece of it. So, do I have a motion to pass this on to the Board of Trustees for the annual budget planning?
Well, just before you do that,
Yeah.
do we have to discuss this request first and recommend yes, no, or changes?
That one I would keep separate. I would start with just the budget request stuff. This extra policy thing, I think we need a little bit of time to read through and determine and give maybe some guidance for it.
Well, yeah, because I would have questions like, first, why do we even need it? I don't agree we need it. There's nothing, look at our own title on here.
Event coordinator.
Event coordinator. Does not say Vassar Township Parks Coordinator. Doesn't say Parks Coordinator.
Well, it says Vassar Coordinator,
Well,
Event Coordinator Budget and Purchasing Policy for Vassar Township Parks and Recreation.
You're talking about in the request. I'm talking about in all the documents, including the bottom line of this one. Event coordinator in Vassar Township Parks and Recreation. So, yeah, I know she's the chairman, but she's also the event coordinator. It's two titles. It's not like it's the township. She didn't even sign it that way, is my point. She didn't put Vassar Township Parks and Recreation event coordinator. And she never does, and that's fine. I don't have an argument.
Well-
That's my point. Why change anything then? My point is, why change it? I don't get it. Now, the separate budget is a different discussion.
I mean, that's what this other thing is just establishing a separate budget.
But that's not this letter. This letter's asking to be specifically.
And that's why I said look over it, and that's why I'm saying this part we don't necessarily need to move on with tonight. I think the budget stuff we need to move on with because the planning and all that's coming up relatively soon. So we should move with the budgeting side of it.
Understand.
This side of the extra piece of like
Okay.
establishing a separate budget, like that documentation, yeah, I think we can take some time to look over that, read it, give our feedback on it.
Okay.
It is just that it will eventually impact where money lays out in this, potentially. Whether it stays in the park, directly in the Parks and Rec, or if it is its own separate budget. And I think the reason that she's assigning it to Vassar Township Parks and Recreation, I mean, she's got an event coordinator, Vassar Township Parks and Recreation.
I'm not picking on that.
No, no, no.
I need to explain that for 2 years I've talked about this, and she hasn't changed her signature the other way around, so she must agree with me. She is the event coordinator, period. She's also the Parks and Rec chairman, period. One and the other do not have to be exclusive. Nobody's ever argued, nobody said we're not giving her a check because she didn't sign it the other way. So why do we have to keep talking about it? What's wrong with the way it is? If it's a separate budget, it's a separate budget. That's nothing to do with this.
With
I
this
mean-
letter
I mean-
specifically.
I guess I gotta reread the letter the way you keep saying that. Am I missing something? I read
This
this
is,
last night, okay? To establishment of a formal event coordinator.
budget,
and purchasing policy.
yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm confused. I thought this was to create this new township event coordinator.
No,
So I
no.
completely read it wrong then, is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah,
And I'm
it's,
understanding it.
it's just, yeah,
Unless I reread it again and find what I'm talking about.
right. When it was explained at the meeting, it was to separate the budget out for events specifically.
Specifically, and only the budget, not changing anything else.
Correct.
Well,
And then
I'll reread it,
establishing
but if
it-
that's all it is, then everything I just said is irrelevant.
Yes.
I read that differently late at night last night, sorry. It meant something else in my
Yeah,
head.
it's to pull it out of the overall Parks and Rec budget and make it its own separate budget. Not change how it's, but the policy
Okay,
part of it
okay.
is the actual function and accessing the funds and all of that. Which should be done for any
Okay,
budget.
so, just spitballing real quick, because I'm thinking real quick, because obviously everything I already thought was wrong. That's just an internal paperwork, just like the township. The money's all really right here. But we say it's in this account, this account, this account, but really it's in this bank account.
Right.
It's just an internal Parks and Recreation. This bump gets separated out, it's for that purpose. So it doesn't even need to be a big deal.
Well, I think what they're trying to get at is that,
Maybe even the board would do it that way, hypothetically. Parks and Recreation maintenance, Parks and Recreation playground additions, I don't know, playground, and then.
I think
events.
that the difference here is that what they're trying to go for is that their budget, like what they are able to do in terms of budgeting money, which we all know the funds are all coming from the same spot.
Sure.
Is
All
just
coming out of the same
that,
pot.
like, maybe in the event in the future, there is more money. Now, if we're basically establishing, like, only this percentage of the budget ever goes to the Parks and Rec, well, now, if the events is a separate budget completely from the Parks and Rec, you might be able to redo the calculus and say like, oh, well, yeah, that means Parks and Rec gets a little bit more money because this money specifically, or this percentage of it, doesn't have to come out of their budget. Is what I think they're ultimately
Okay.
trying to get to.
Okay.
But it may not make a difference, but it literally may just be going from a documentation standpoint, because instead of having to pull it out of like, well, this money was spent out of here, so I gotta figure out like where this money came from. If it's specifically called out on your monthly budget report, right, that the board of trustees puts out, if it's its own separate line item, now it's like, okay, we spent this amount of money on events. Because there's been some questions of, in the last couple of months, where like, hey, money was spent, but we didn't have an event. Where was this money going? You know, what was this money used for? As opposed to like, okay, this money came specifically out of Parks and Rec. Okay, now I can dig into what did the Parks and Rec spend, as opposed to like,
Okay.
was this event expenses?
I think that already has to be done, so we can talk about that.
Right.
I understand it now.
Okay.
I'll reread the letter again and figure out why I thought it meant the other, I don't know.
Okay, so I guess I'll make the motion to pass the Parks and Rec budget requests on to the Board of Trustees.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just make sure I wrote it right for my notes. Pass the two
Pass on.
different versions, or the two documents.
To pass on the budget request documentation to the Board of Trustees. So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Motion passes 4-2. All right, then we'll move on. So we'll revisit the other letter for more in-depth at a later date. Any other business that I missed that we need to cover?
No,
No.
we didn't have to do that.
We didn't have to do that. That would have been a public hearing. We didn't have to set that up. Troy was nice enough to give us some documentation on a comprehensive guide to easement and access rights in Michigan. I would definitely recommend reading that over, and the lawyer, the attorney, is supposed to be supplying us with a better version of the private road, private drive, private easement ordinance, which should get put into, it should be in the zoning ordinance. Why it ever got pulled out of the zoning ordinance and put into it as a general ordinance, nobody has been able to determine, but it will be likely a zoning amendment that we pass and then figure out how to put it into the new zoning ordinance format.
One question when you're done, or whatever.
Yeah, what's up?
Did we overpass this building again? And I thought we were gonna discuss this, we had, last time we tabled it because we didn't understand it, he wasn't here.
You talking about the dangerous building ordinance?
Yeah, but he gave it to us, but we didn't do nothing.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we
We
did.
passed it.
I was corrected in the document, I didn't understand that, no one understood it, no one said it at 2 months in a row's meetings now. But supposedly it was an electronic, it was a printout of the electronic version, so the board could see what we wanted to change, and simply you hit a button, and it doesn't print those red lines
I
anymore.
just know it's been going around
Well-
and around, and I still
So this is the approved by us version.
We're still fighting for
The
it.
copy you just got tonight is the exact same, I haven't double checked it, I've been told it's the exact same as the one with the red and the strike throughs. It just was printed without the strike throughs. That way the board can read both versions. If they disagree and wanna make an alteration, they can do that. So now that I know that, I have to, I don't know if I'm still, that's back to the beginning. Do I turn in the official document? But he already said he did. And then supervisor already found it. Last night, the supervisor found he's had it since March.
Well, you could at least put it in your notes and say.
I've
hey,
got it in my
check
notes.
it.
That's what she was teasing me about multiple times. About my notes. It's
Where you
right
been
there.
all night?
But the supervisor apparently has had the right document since March. Also, so Ben was also right, according to Troy. I don't know anything for fact.
Move, if there's nothing else, then move to public comment.
Just walked out.
If no public comment, then I'll make a motion to adjourn. Bob got it.
Huh?
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned at 9:16.
Sorry, people, this hay fever is just kicking my butt. I worked the job Monday and Tuesday, and I've been sick ever since. Something in the woods, something.
I've been taking double Claritin off, I mowed the lawn, I had,
My-
oh, but the next